Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, April 29th. I'm John Weigell here with Sara Friedman, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. So a trip to the grocery store is now laced with scores of items bearing the, quote, now with protein label. It's the latest fad in the food industry, and Greek yogurt is just the beginning of it. The snack industry is high on protein, but how do we get here? And is this protein in everything fad actually appealing to people? We don't know. But first, let's give you the hits and headlines today in business and tech. First, let's start off with some EV news. Bezos-backed startup Slate introduced its truck, an EV pickup that costs $20,000 after some federal incentives. The truck will start production next year, and it has 2 seats, a compact bed, and can drive 150 miles on a single charge. The minimalist price point means minimalist design and features. The truck only comes in gray and has no speaker system, and its body panels are molded plastic instead of metal. So we've all been interested across the internet about the launch of the Cybertruck. So what do you make of this new EV truck? Are they capitalizing on some Cybertruck woes that are happening?
Yeah, I think the Slate truck is really interesting because the idea here is to basically offer the most pared back product humanly possible for the lowest price point. And then they're going to give customers opportunities to add on kind of as they see fit. So they're going to offer DIY vinyl wraps for people who want a color other than gray. They'll have an SUV upgrade kit if you want that back seat and you want an SUV instead of a truck. They'll have battery kits if long distance drives are important to you. So this is really streamlining their production process. It's making it cheaper, faster, and it's basically putting all customization responsibility onto the consumer. So you can either get a really affordable truck as is or kind of make it into what you want it to be. So I think it's a really cool test to see if consumers like this model, like if they're willing to go through the work of customizing or if people would rather pay a steeper price tag and drive something off the lot that feels a little bit more luxurious.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy the customization angle here. I think it's something new. I mean, car people love customizing their vehicles. I, for example, am not a car guy. I would need Exhibit and probably 30 minutes of MTV television in order to get a car customized. But this seems like a new era of customization, especially in the Cybertruck space, which Tesla Cybertrucks have very much been in the doghouse for having weak paneling and all that stuff. So this is a nice change because they're kind of out front about it, that it is cheap. So interested to see how this performs.
Yeah, very interested. We'll see.
Next up here, some good news wrapped in some bad news in the travel industry. Plane tickets are getting a bit cheaper for domestic travel here in the United States. Major airlines are offering off-peak fare sales in the second half of the year, and airfare declined by 5.3% in March from last year, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So there's kind of the bad news. It's bad time for travel, but also a good time for travel if you're a consumer wanting to fly domestically. From there, we go to some chip news. NVIDIA is looking at some stiff competition right now. Chinese tech company Huawei is moving in on the AI chip turf as it looks to test a new AI processor that's similar to one of NVIDIA's products. The chip, called Ascend 910D, will be Huawei's most powerful chip offering if and when it is completed. More tech on the docket here. IBM announced a $150 billion investment in the United States over the next 5 years, including an over $30 billion infusion into the research and development of its mainframes and quantum computers, investments in U.S. manufacturing. You don't see that every day unless you do. And finally here, Etsy is offloading Reverb, the music gear platform it bought for $275 million in 2019. It's selling it off to an investor group led by SoundCloud CEO Kerry Trainor and Fender parent company Servco. Reverb will operate, though, as a standalone business, and users should notice no interruptions. Okay, on to the main story today. We got protein everywhere. It's all in the grocery aisles. It's all over the snacks. It's kind of in everything nowadays. So, Sara, what I want to know first is, are consumers enjoying this? Because I find myself in the grocery store seeing this everywhere. Not particularly interested, but maybe most people could be.
Yeah, I think you're in the minority there, actually, because it turns out with a little digging, Americans are obsessed with protein and their intake of it. So 61% of consumers said they're striving to increase their protein intake in 2024. That's up from 48% in 2019, according to a report from global food company Cargill. And 63% of consumers said they want protein specifically in their snacks. And Google searches for high protein diet peaked just in January. So people want protein, they want more of it, and they're okay with it being in the snack aisle, which I think is particularly interesting because many of us think of it as kind of a, your healthy dinner,
Right.
perhaps, but we're talking maybe junk food here.
Yeah, we often see it with, chicken or dinner, but also in powders like protein powders and substitutes. But yeah, I definitely noticed the wave of more protein laced snacks. Like you have your protein cookies nowadays that they sell sometimes even at the gym, which I've seen. You have your protein shakes. So it's getting in everywhere. But I would like to know, Sarah, I mean, given the amount of fitness explosion that's happened over the past 10 years and people doing more fitness, is that the primary reason you think that this obsession is a thing now?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there's always an obsession in the food space. In the 80s and 90s, it was low fat, everything, low cal, like we did paleo.
Right.
There's always a trend happening. So I think this is definitely not unusual for consumers to get obsessed with something. I think as with many of the things we report on, in some ways, this started on social. This is all over TikTok, a lot of searches for getting more protein in your meals and recipes, and this belief that we need much more protein. The other thing that's happening here, I think, is the rise in popularity of GLP-1 weight loss drugs. So 6% of adults in the US, that's 15 million plus people, were actively using a prescription as of last year. And part of how those drugs work is they eliminate fat, but they also can shrink muscle mass. So that's making people extra cautious about their protein intake. They're looking for high protein, low calorie options. And I think food companies are responding to that demand.
That makes sense. It seems all the GLP-1 drugs do also curb your appetite a bit. So you can't really eat as much as you normally would in most cases. So it makes sense that people would want to put in what they can eat to be a lot of protein so that they can go get a good workout in. And makes sense. But how are these snack companies now capitalizing on it and how are they kind of banking on it?
Yeah, it's definitely not slowing down anytime soon. So the US protein supplements market was valued at $9.9 billion in 2024, and it's projected to hit $22.6 billion by 2032. So we're just getting started with the protein here. I think if you're already sick of it, that's bad news because there will be more. Food brands introduced 97 new products with the word protein in the name in 2024, and that's more than double the year prior. And the fastest growing grocery items of the last year were also the most protein packed with 25 plus grams, according to Nielsen and data from the Wall Street Journal. So as you said, we're talking pasta, ice cream, chips. There's protein soda, there's protein water. If it's edible, you can put protein in it, it turns out.
Okay, good to know about the protein water. That's new for me. So I guess the big question here is, do we really need more protein? Is it a thing that everybody could benefit from? Because if it's thought of as a health benefit to have more protein, then I'm kind of all for this. But if it's kind of an unnecessary now thing to make you feel better about maybe not working out, then that's the whole different story.
Yeah, so it turns out that very few Americans actually need more protein. On average, we're realistically all getting what we need with a normal, healthy diet. And there is such a thing as too much, health professionals have pointed out. So you can overdo it. And interestingly, protein can actually be a problem for the environment. So excess nitrogen in the country's wastewater, which is caused by digesting protein and flushing it down your toilet, can pollute air and water and promote toxic algae growth and some other environmental problems. So we probably don't need more. And in fact, it could be not so great for us and for the earth.
Okay. That is a way that I did not think that this would manifest as a problem, but it has. So I will continue to buy my regular tortilla chips unlaced with protein.
Exactly.
As should you.
I will. This trend is not calling to me personally. Not trying to bulk up.
Not fiending for the protein. No.
Yeah.
All right, and that'll do it for us today. Thanks everybody for tuning in to the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of HubSpot Media. Our editor is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a ton more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go get signed up at thehustle.co/email and follow us on Instagram at The Hustle Daily. We will catch you tomorrow. Building a business can be really lonely. That's why The Hustle is proud to be the lead sponsor of the 2025 OOO Summit in New York City this May. It's the flagship event built by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. You can join us for game-changing sessions from speakers like Andrew Yang, Ankur Nagpal, and Sahil Bloom, plus unmatched networking with fellow founders. The Hustle team will be there with exclusive merch and experiences that you won't find anywhere else, and you can click the link in the show notes and use code THEHUSTLE for $100 off your ticket. See you in New York.